A lot of people say they want to be successful. They say it every day, at coffee shops during weekend talks, or even while looking at themselves in the mirror each morning. But then they go back to old habits, mindlessly scrolling through their phones saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." I've met hundreds of people like that during my 10 years working here in Canada. People who once had big dreams, but slowly let those dreams fade away. And you know what? It's not because they're weak, it's because they don't want it enough. Success doesn't come to those who simply want, it comes to those who can't live without it. I once had a student, a single father who woke up every morning at 4 a.m. to work, then studied at night. I asked him, "Why don't you take a break?" He smiled and said, "I'm not doing this because I want to. I'm doing it because if I don't, my daughter won't have a future." That's real hunger, not a passing feeling, but a deep pain turned into power. If you've never felt ready to give up everything for something you believe in, maybe you don't truly want it yet, so let me ask you, that thing you call your dream, is it truly worth living for or even dying for? Sometimes I think what shapes a person isn't success itself, but the pain they've survived. No one becomes strong without first being broken. No one finds calm without first facing despair. Have you ever felt that when the whole world seems to turn its back and all you have left is yourself? I once worked with an immigrant woman in Toronto, raising 2 kids alone after her husband left. She told me there were days she couldn't afford milk, living only on stale bread. And yet every morning she woke before the sun, put on her uniform, stepped outside and told me, "I won't let life defeat me. I'll become the best version of myself for my kids." When she finally earned her nursing certificate, the look in her eyes wasn't just joy, it was the strength of someone who's walked through fire and survived. Because when you've suffered enough, pain no longer destroys you as it forges you. I once read a study that said people who've faced deep adversity have 3 times the emotional resilience of the average person. Because they understand pain isn't the end, it's the beginning of strength. So if you're tired today, broken, or feeling lost, don't hate your pain. Let it teach you how to rise, how to endure, and how to turn your scars into wings. Sometimes, the brightest light only appears after you've walked through the darkest night. Now, I want you to imagine this. You're standing alone in an empty room, no one else around, just you and a single question. If I were gone tomorrow, would the people I love be okay? That's when I realized money isn't just numbers, it's responsibility. After years of working with adults here in Canada, I've noticed something. The richest people aren't the ones with the most wealth. They're the ones who know why they need to be wealthy. I once knew an Asian friend who worked long winter shifts at a construction site, saving every dollar to send home to his parents. I asked him, "Why don't you treat yourself a little?" He smiled, his hands cracked from the cold, and said, "Because if I don't do this, who will?" That's when I understood. He didn't love money. He loved the feeling of providing, of seeing his loved ones safe and cared for. For him, money wasn't the goal. It was the language of love. When you understand the true meaning of money, you stop chasing it and start building the kind of value that makes money chase you. A mature man or woman doesn't work for fame or vanity. They do it because they know the poor are powerless, but the rich have the freedom to choose how they live and how they love. Money doesn't define you, but how you use it defines who you are in this life. Have you ever asked yourself if in the past 2 years you hadn't procrastinated, hadn't made excuses, who would you be today? I often tell my students, we all live with 2 versions of ourselves. The one you are now, tired, uncertain, sometimes lost, and the one you could become, stronger, wiser, proud. At a seminar in Vancouver, a middle-aged man once stood up and asked me, "How can I change when all my life I've known only failure?" I told him, "You can't change your past, but you can stop it from repeating." The moment you take action, even a small step, you close the distance between who you are and who you're meant to be. You don't have to be perfect, just a little less lazy than yesterday. Science shows that keeping one small positive habit for 60 days can rewire your brain toward consistent action. So no, you don't need motivation. You just need to start. And I believe somewhere inside you, there's still a spark. It might be small, fragile, but if you protect it from the winds of fear and laziness, it will grow into a fire, and when it does, you'll finally meet the version of yourself you were always meant to become. Discipline. It sounds rigid, but really, it's the language of the strong. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. I once told a group of students in Montreal, don't trust inspiration when it comes and goes, but trust discipline so it stays even when you're exhausted. Successful people aren't always inspired. They get tired too. They get frustrated. But they do it anyway. A friend of mine, a marathon runner, once said, the hardest part isn't running 42 kilometers, it's stepping out of bed on that first freezing morning at 10 degrees CC. He told me, I'm not always motivated to run, but I promised myself I won't betray my discipline. That line stayed with me because in life, you don't need to do big things right away. You just need to keep one small promise to yourself every day. Science shows our brains respond deeply to consistent belief. When you repeat an action long enough, your body accepts it as a new normal, and what once felt like effort becomes instinct. So if you're tired today, remember, you don't need motivation to do what's right. You need discipline. And discipline will make you someone others respect, someone even you will admire. Let me tell you one last story. A few years ago, I had a student who worked at a small auto repair shop in Calgary. He wasn't rich, he had no big title, but I'll never forget one thing, he was never late, not even once. He'd arrive 15 minutes early, clean his hands, greet customers with a smile, and always kept his word, said no matter how small the promise. One day I asked him, don't you get tired doing the same thing every day? He smiled and said, no, because I'm not here just to work. I'm here so people know they can trust me. That is real value. Money comes and goes, but trust and integrity, those are what make people remember you, seek you out, and pay whatever it takes to work with you. After working with countless entrepreneurs in Canada, I realized something powerful. Their success doesn't come from high IQ or wide connections. It comes from being reliable. They do what they say even when no one's watching. Money isn't rare. Honesty and consistency are. And when you become someone more valuable than money itself, money will naturally flow toward you. Because in the end, the world doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most trustworthy. So remember this, whenever you have to choose between doing it fast or doing it right, always choose right. That's how you build a value no number can measure. Have you ever wondered why some people rise stronger from hardship while others fall apart after one setback? The answer is pain. I've met so many people who say, I want success, but I'm afraid to fail. But the truth is, you can't grow without pain. Just like muscles. Without pressure, they'll never get stronger. Life's the same. Pain isn't the enemy, it's the silent teacher. I remember a friend in Toronto who went bankrupt at 35. He lost everything, his company, his house, even his partner. One night, he called me, his voice shaking. I've got nothing left, I said, you're wrong, you still have yourself. And that's the most valuable thing to start over with. 3 years later, he rebuilt his company, and this time, 10 times bigger than before. When I asked him what his secret was, he said just one thing. I'm no longer afraid of pain. You see, pain doesn't destroy you. It shapes you. It teaches patience. It reminds you what truly matters. It toughens your spirit so you won't quit just because you're tired. If you're hurting today, don't rush to blame life. Understand this. In the darkness, you're being reforged into someone stronger. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize those painful days became the foundation of your future. Now, I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the best version of yourself. That person wakes up early every morning, no complaining, no delaying. They keep their promises, stay focused, and don't let emotions dictate their life. Now ask yourself, if I had lived like that for the past 2 years, who would I be today? Can you see it? A stronger body, a healthier bank account, a more confident look in your eyes, all of it already within reach. But you've let laziness hold you back. I'm not saying this to judge you. I'm saying it because I've seen hundreds of people change their lives just by becoming a little more disciplined. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to do what you know you should do, even when you don't feel like it. That's the secret of every successful person I've met, from wealthy entrepreneurs to the hardest working tradespeople. Once a student told me, I don't feel motivated to work out. I said, you don't need motivation. You need discipline. Because motivation fades, but discipline stays. It's the only bridge between dreams and reality, and when you step onto that bridge every day, even just one small step, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Don't wait for inspiration, take action, Salalehu, and let your results inspire you. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear. No one cares about what you want. The world only sees what you do. You can say you want change, happiness, success, but if every morning you stay in bed, clinging to your comfort zone, then all those wants are just echoes in your mind. I once gave a talk to a group of middle-aged men in Vancouver. One of them stood up and said, "I really want a better life, but I don't know where to start." I asked him, "Do you know what makes a person worse than they were yesterday?" He shook his head. I said, "It's doing nothing. We don't lose our dreams because we fail. We lose them because we hesitate. The longer we wait, the weaker we become. The more we fear, the more we forget that action, even small imperfect action, is always better than standing still. Remember this, no one can save you, no one can live your life for you. Every choice, from waking up on time to how you face challenges, that is writing your destiny. If you don't see results yet, don't lose heart. Real change always happens in silence, just like a seed buried underground, unseen but breaking open, growing stronger every day. You just have to keep going, stop wanting, start doing. Maybe by now you understand, success isn't a destination. It's the person you become along the way, and that path isn't meant for the half-hearted. I once asked an old entrepreneur in Toronto who spent 20 years building his company, if you could go back, what would you do differently? He smiled and said, "I'd start earlier and stay consistent even when no one believed in me." That answer stayed with me, because in today's world, it's so easy to get lost in the shine, the trips, the photos, the quick praise. But at the end of the day, when it's just you and your thoughts, the only question that matters is, am I living up to my potential? Don't let life slip away in busyness while forgetting meaning. Being busy isn't the same as living. Living is knowing where you're going and walking toward it, rain or shine. And remember, money, status, or admiration are just side rewards. The true prize of discipline and purpose is pride. That quiet knowing inside you, I didn't give up, I went all the way. So if you're on that journey today, tired, slow, unseen, keep going. Because one day, when you look back, you'll smile and say, I lived a life that mattered. There's something I always tell people who come to me looking for motivation. You don't need more motivation, you need a stronger reason. Motivation fades like a passing breeze. But a reason from your heart still keeps burning even when the world turns its back. I once met a man in Montreal who said, I've tried so many things, but I always quit after a few months. I asked, why are you doing it? He went silent. I looked at him and said, if you do it for money, you'll quit when it gets hard. If you do it for pride, you'll quit when people laugh at you. But if you do it for the people you love, you'll never stop. A father will work himself to the bone for his children's future. A mother will give up sleep so her child can study. Why don't they quit? Because they have a reason. Think about yours. Who benefits when you become stronger, wiser, more successful? Who will smile when you win? When you find that answer, you won't need anyone to push you. You'll rise on your own, you'll move forward, not out of pressure, but purpose. Because when your reason is big enough, every limit becomes small.